I've never done a reaction or like a review of another YouTuber's actual video before. So I'm of course reviewing MOGCAST episode number 14 with James English, Soosh, and Will
It
Tennyson.
was one night specifically where you were like pretty down bad and kind of just like opening up to me. And I'd never heard like exactly how bad it was because you'd always
Yeah.
made jokes out of it. With like the peanut butter issue, you kind of make a joke out of it probably because you didn't want to be like, bro, I have a problem.
Yeah.
But
So, first, if you don't know who some of these guys are, which I'd be actually pretty surprised, I just want to give my own background on how I see each of these three individuals because I've been watching fitness YouTube for probably 10 years actually. I started with Omar Esoff way back in the day, like Elliot Hulse. Name a fitness YouTuber, and I probably at least know about them. So, all right, so let's start with Soosh. Soosh is an absolute hilarious guy. Now he mostly does vlogs, and he lives in Texas with James English. But back in the day, he used to live at his house, like where he grew up. And honestly, he was just a super funny guy. I saw one of his videos because I think Greg reviewed one of Sush's videos or something along those lines. So he popped up in my feed.
Girlfriend coming soon.
And this dude is just like freaking hilarious. He cursed, he didn't care. He's pumping out content. Like this is his career, I'm pretty sure. Then let's go on to James English. I'll be honest, I really only knew James through Soosh. Out of Soosh, Will, and James, James is a dead serious lifter, guys. He's like a power lifter. He's the real deal. He's got 60K subs on YouTube. I can't lie, I don't watch his YouTube videos per se, but I love James. He's a really chill dude. All right, so now let's get to Will Tennyson.
I feel like bacon on like anything is like a culinary risk. Yes. You get this is like porkiness the whole way through. Porkiness.
Tennyson doesn't have a subscriber count on YouTube. He's infamous for that, but we know he has a ton of subscribers. Will is a great guy also. He's from Canada. He's, of course, visiting the States to do the MOGCAST. I've reviewed some of his recipes, and the thing with Will is similar to me. He was heavy as a kid, and he then, transitioned to fitness and got in really good shape. So I want to play a couple clips and then get into like my own feelings on what they said and just give you my own perspective because they got into some interesting stuff here.
we had a big giant tub of Jif peanut butter, which has 8,000 calories in it, and he had it in 2 days. On
Yeah,
top
just
of the
spoonfuls,
food,
bro, spoonfuls.
on top of the food he was already eating,
Damn.
because he couldn't help himself, and he would eat a little bit and then be like, okay, I'm done binging, and he would brush his teeth and go to bed, brushing his teeth to like try to trick his brain that he was done. He'd lay in bed wide awake, and I'd see him come back out into the kitchen and like more spoonfuls. And at the time, it didn't really process. I just thought the guy was fucking hungry.
Yeah, I'm kind of like still like that now, but I literally I have an addiction to eating ice. Like
Damn.
I'll literally fill like this thing up like probably 8 times in a day.
With
You know,
just
I'll
ice?
eat
Legit?
with just ice.
Is it
no.
just to like keep your mouth occupied,
Yeah.
pretend that you're eating food?
Yeah.
All right, guys, so you just watched that clip. Let's get into a couple things that were said right there. The first part was Soosh talking about the peanut butter gallon that he used to binge on. First off, that's 8,000 calories over a couple days of just excess. That was above what he was eating. That's not like he only ate peanut butter and it was 4,000 calories each day. So I first wanted to say, I think anybody who used to be heavy and then transitioned into being in relative shape has struggled with binge eating to some degree. I definitely have, and I'm going to tell you when it usually happened to me. When I struggled with binge eating, it was because I wasn't following the Greg Doucette method.
No, that's stupid.
And what I mean by that, guys, I'm not like a Greg Doucette, like he's my Lord and Savior.
No, that's stupid.
But when it comes to eating filling foods, that's when the binge eating stopped. So Soosh basically, it sounds like from what I'm hearing, he was in too deep of a deficit. So if you're in too deep of a deficit and you're pushing your body past where it wants to go genetically in terms of body fat percentage, that's when the binges are going to happen. And then most of the time what would happen is I would go out drinking and I realized I was freaking starving and I would come home and eat like everything in sight. And it also happened at like every barbecue, every time I went to like a Mets game, everything was just like, once you start eating like unhealthy, like the trigger went off. Now I promise that I eat more of a balanced lifestyle and I'm in a slight deficit, not a significant deficit. It doesn't feel, those triggers don't go off that much. I also wanted to bring up when Will started talking about that he eats like 6 cups of ice a day. Obviously, Will's a great guy, but I think you guys have to check yourself sometimes. If you're going that extreme that you're eating ice 6 cups a day and breaking your freezer, Just think about it. Is it really worth it? If you're starving all the time, if you're obsessed with what your next meal is going to be all the time, it's hard to have that balance, guys, but just take a step back sometimes.
So your mom, she was always cooking like clean food?
Oh yeah, like we weren't allowed to have butter on our bread. Like it was like every single thing that she would make would be like for dinner would be like chicken, salad, rice.
Wait, I'm confused. How are you 270?
The thing
You
is,
were eating a lot of chicken.
I would just go. The thing is, I could be that weight eating that food. I could eat salad all day long, and like it would be to the point that I'd be at the dinner table with my family, and I'd be going up for first serving, second serving, and my mom would be like, "Will,
chill,
stop, you're done."
Interested when Will talked about his mom being super strict, and then Soosh kind of was like, "What, bro? Like, how are you fat? But your mom was strict and you ate really healthy." Well, obviously they get into it, and a calorie is a calorie, guys. Like, I can lose weight on Domino's. I could gain weight on chicken, broccoli, and rice. A calorie is a calorie. But what I found interesting was when I was growing up, actually, I was overweight like Will, and my mom was relatively strict too. There was no like cookies in the house. We didn't grow up with donuts. We didn't have a lot of junk food in the house, And what I think happened was I wasn't mentally prepared for when those really good tasting foods came around. I think if you're a parent watching this, be careful. Don't just, force your kid to never eat anything that's like, because I think that's bad. I just think that's bad. So I wanted to touch on that point.
Honestly, like back when I started YouTube, I was intermittent fasting that whole time. And I got to the point where I was actually fasting until I wouldn't have eaten yet. It's 5 o'clock. Macro fasting, where I'll literally only eat protein during the day and I'll save the carbs and fat at night. So like I'll literally break my fast with 500 grams of egg whites.
What are your workouts like when you don't have carbs?
Yeah, that's what I was
before?
going to say.
Because I feel like having some fast carbs before I lift. It makes me feel fuller and like have more energy in the gym.
I haven't noticed anything, to be honest.
Anything that helps you get to a caloric deficit or a caloric goal, keep doing it. If it works, keep doing it. But what I want to say is don't think there's some magical macro fasting. I personally would not macro fast because if you're going to the gym, guys, I think you need some carbs in the system to get a pump, and just get in there and just crush your workout. So Will clearly has a ridiculous appetite, so he has to do like all these tricks and stuff. But don't feel like you got to macro fast, and don't feel like you got to do IMF, because Will mentioned it. He doesn't eat till 5 o'clock when he was doing IMF. And guys, that's crazy. Like, if you work a 9 to 5, you can't be doing IMF. If you're at work starving, looking at your watch, like, what time can I eat? You got to check yourself. I don't know. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. But don't think of this magical thing that's just going to, work. What you want to do is just get into a caloric deficit, get your cardio in, track the scale, track the aesthetics to see if you're losing fat, and go nice and slow. You don't really need to do IMF. It's just... All right, so that's really my review of the MOGCAST and getting into, who Will is, who Soosh is, who James is. Obviously, I love the MOGCAST. And I loved making this type of video because honestly, I've seen the fitness industry for so long, and most of my videos have obviously been like the recipes and stuff, which are amazing, and like fitness, like advice from my own perspective. Hope to see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.